Welcome back to WizardPhD. I'm Professor Lynette here with Jeffrey, driving as per usual. So today we are doing the SOS, what is this? The flare-up, foundable flare-up emergency event. And we are looking to go to our standard spot in Park Place Mall in Tucson. If you live around here, that is the spot to play Wizards Unite if you want to just chill for hours. Just an overview of what to expect from this event. The focus is on Family XP, which is different than Standard XP. Family XP, when you go to your registry page, each family has its own meter and you fill it up and you get a treasure trunk. The trunk awards you with scrolls and runestones, which are useful for training up. The scrolls are used for training up, and runestones are useful for fortress encounters. So the reason why Jeff and I are really trying to get as many scrolls and runestones as possible is because we are trying to level up or train up our professions so that we can do better in the fortresses, advance, Jeffrey, Jason Derulo. So we're trying to find those rare foundables. That's why we've been doing so many fortresses and we're trying to strategize, but we need more scrolls. Secondly, in a few days, I guess, the Brilliant event is also happening. So you'll be able to get those green notebooks, the restricted section ones, and you also, when you spend for restricted sections, there's typically also like you spend regular scrolls. So if you're further along on your skill tree, you're gonna need more scrolls, and that's kind of the goal for today, is that we're trying to get as many leveling up on the specific family XPs. So when you fill up the family XP on that registry, it'll give you a trunk and you'll get scrolls or runestones. I'll record where I start in terms of each of those pages, where I start, and then at the end of the 3 hours, which we'll be going with Baruthios and Dark Detectors the whole time to increase the spawns. I know that people in the Asia Pacific region, and I heard a few reports in Europe, were having some issues with the game, not seeing the increased spawns for the Care of Magical Creatures. But the spawns seems to be hit or miss. Like, some people are having a lot of success and other people are not really seeing anything different. So hopefully we'll see the increase and we'll see, oh, maybe we can fill out the entire Care of Magical Creatures
that'd be pretty epic.
Registry. So we are on our way over. A few people should be meeting up with us, so maybe we'll do a couple fortresses, but we are super excited to see this first emergency event. You're melting.
I'm melting.
We're gonna have to sit here or cool the car down. Oh, the mall is much more crowded on the weekends.
Oh yeah.
It was. What do you think? We literally
definitely packed. It's a good thing we got there before the food court opened.
We played non-stop for 3 straight hours.
With 6 of us.
With 6 people total. Like we had something to do like every second.
Oh yeah, no, there was no downtime.
Usually,
it was actually kind of tiring.
Usually we're always maxed out on energy, but I was like getting into the 40s, like spending. I mean, we were doing a lot of things, and we were doing wizarding challenges and
Fort keys, fortresses.
oh my gosh.
We did a lot of fortresses.
Yeah.
We only lost 1.
It was intense. I was
what did you get? What was your most exciting get?
What was my most exciting
Probably
get?
Hagrid.
Oh, we saw 3 Hagrid. So
3
the reason
Hagrids.
why this was so helpful is first of all, we had 6 people, and so people had dark detectors. One of our friends played who was a little lower level than us, so like he was able to level up and get dark detectors and things. Shout out to Stu.
You went from level 6 to level 10.
Level 6 to level 10. Look at that.
What'll be interesting too is just to what exactly is increased spawn rate for Care of Magical Creatures? What does it look like? Because right at 11, all 6 of the inns by us all spawned one. So it was like, oh, this is definitely the event.
Well, I wonder if we went to an actual like
We got a bunch of
area,
hippogriffs.
like a nest. If we went to a nest, like what that would have been like. We did not.
One with the symbol of it?
With Care of Magical Creatures.
Yeah.
But I mean, it's okay because like I wasn't necessarily focused on that one that much. I was more focused on my placed stickers to
It's
get.
more just a curiosity for me. I don't know.
Because it doesn't really help me because when you level your family XP, then it goes up incrementally. So it's like I'm at 100 right now for I think 100 for Care of Magical Creatures. So it's going to take longer to fill that up. So the more of the family registries that I can get leveled up, the more scrolls and runestones that I can get. I don't think the spawn rates for Care of Magical Creatures were, I mean, they were okay, but it wasn't like drastically
Saw a lot of
overpowered.
like baby hippogriffs, baby unicorns.
Actually, no, this makes sense. So Hagrid is Care of Magical Creatures. We saw
makes
3 emergency Hagrids,
That makes a lot of sense.
and so that's probably because of the boosted spawns plus the dark detectors.
Yeah.
So overall worthwhile, I think. Oh, check out downtown. It's so hot. Why is anyone outside? As I said at the beginning of this episode, my goal was to see how many scrolls and runestones I could get, and that's because we are trying to get rarer level foundables from the fortresses. The more scrolls that we need, and especially because my skill tree right now, I need a lot of scrolls to advance down. And next week at the Brilliant event, we'll be able to get the green books, restricted section books. I'll talk about this on my video at the beginning of next week, so Monday maybe. But in preparation for the Brilliant event, we definitely want to look at our skill trees more in depth and try to maximize the amount that we can unlock. I think I got a decent amount. So my summary chart here, I started off with 16 scrolls and I ended up with 64. So that was a total of 48 scrolls, which makes sense because I'll put up on the screen that I had at least 12 runestones. I wasn't able to screenshot everything, so I don't know. We did do some fortresses, so I don't know how many runestones I got from that. But I know that I got at least 12 because in the family XP, when that increases and levels up, you get a treasure trunk. And from the treasure trunk, you can get scrolls and runestones. Here is my breakdown side by side. We have Care of Magical Creatures. I ranked up twice. Dark Arts ranked up once. Hogwarts School ranked up once. Legends of Hogwarts ranked up twice. Ministry of Magic rank up twice. And then for the rest, Magizoology, Magical Games and Sports, Mysterious Artifacts, Wonders of Wizarding World, I also ranked up once. So collectively, just from the family XP bonuses that I was getting and leveling that up, I got 12 runestones, and each time I was getting 4 scrolls. So 4 times 12 had 48 total. So for XP, this one was pretty big. I did use a Barufios. There were some moments when I forgot that it ran out and I wasn't looking at the quarter hour. I should have been looking at the time because I put one up right at 11. So it wasn't the full time, but it was almost the entire time of the event, and I got 50,280 XP. Ultimately, I got 152 foundables, which is pretty standard for our mall playing time. But I think that when we played yesterday, we played there for much longer. So within the shorter amount of time, it was like really intense. Like there was almost always a trace for me to interact with, and for the few times that there was a lull and we couldn't find anything, we just did the fortress, and there were 6 of us total, so like we would rotate out whoever would sit out for the fortress encounters. But it was literally 3 hours of constantly grinding the entire time. And part of it was, this is just a general good spot to grind in Tucson. So you have like the 5 or 6 inns. I mean, depending on whether you walk around, you can get a ton of energy, or you can just sit there, you can do the fortresses. There's always a ton to do. Let's go over the stickers that I placed. So I got to place a hippogriff, which was the only Care of Magical Creatures sticker that I got to place today. Ravenclaw student, Gryffindor student, Moaning Myrtle, Luna, Moody, which I was super excited about, the Chudley Cannons player, and the music box. So that was 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. I placed 8 stickers during the event. And placing stickers is useful because you get a chunk of family XP. And depending on what the foundable is, you'll get an increase. So like for a high placing hippogriff, I got plus 25, which is like, at this point, I need 100 family XP to level up. So that's like a quarter of the way there. That was very helpful. New foundables, I caught 2 Thestrals today. So I had seen a Thestral before, but I had not caught it. Boggart Cabinet also saw but not caught before, and I got 2 today. Snape, I've seen him, have not caught him, so I caught my first Snape. It's not caught, it's returned. Okay, so I returned Snape for the first time today. 2 that are brand new that I hadn't seen at all. I got a portrait of Albus Dumbledore and Wizard Chest Queen. So those were super exciting. By far, like the Dumbledore one, I think is my favorite new one that I got today. And here is just a montage of all of my high level foundables that got me so excited and so sad. Finally, so the family XP is something that I was really looking at to see what those rewards were looking like. There were questions about prestiging, and I still don't think that it would have been worth it to prestige. The only thing I might have done is prestige a Care of Magical Creatures page, because there might be enough around you, depending on where you are, to get another sticker. But I still think that the more number of foundables that you're able to get the XP doubled, the family XP doubled, the better it is for you. Because you're not gonna do like a ton of foundables, so like you probably have like a limit of how many foundables can you get, so you might as well get like a spread that's wide enough where you can have all of these options for double family XP. I don't know. Let's talk about the levels of family XP and how much you get. There is not quite, I'm trying to figure out the pattern, and I think that it's actually a set range per level. And what I mean by that is, for low threat encounters, I was noticing that there was a range between 1 to 3 in terms of that is the family XP I would get awarded. So the double XP would give me a minimum of 2 and a maximum of 6 for those low level threats. Medium level threats, I would mostly get 5s. Occasionally I would get a 3, at least for what I was keeping track of. So what I think is that there's probably a set. So if anyone has played a Mario Party, there's like different dice that you can use from the characters that you have follow you, and there are 6 different numbers. So it's like, it's random, equally, like each option of the 6 is equally weighted, but they adjust it based on like, if I have a set of 4, for example, and I have like a 3 as an option, a 5 and a 5 and a 5 is an option, then you can see that it's heavily weighted towards 5. You're likely gonna get a 5. If it's a, you know, medium level threat, but you might occasionally get a 3, like 1 every 4 times. For high level threats, I would mostly get 7s, but I did get a 3 one time, so that might be a set that's kind of like if you have a 3, a 7, a 7. Yeah, I don't know exactly how many numbers are in a set or how that distribution plays out, but it seems in general, the higher the threat level, the more family XP you'll get, but there is a chance, there is a minimum. There's a minimum and a maximum, and there's stuff in between. So there is a chance that you'll get something really low. So for example, for the severe, this is where I saw the widest range. I got 5 family XP for the Dumbledore portrait, which seems very, very low. It was a severe threat. I thought that maybe 10 would be like the middle of what you're likely to get, but I haven't gotten many severes to know. But I did get our Tony Stark guy with the bucket or the brains, and he gave me 20 family XP, and because none of the severes that I have gotten, I have placed, so I knew that it wasn't going to be double for any of them. So I got a 5, I got a 10, I got a 20. So this was also confusing because we got Hagrid emergency 3 times. I only got 1 Hagrid, and it gave me 5 family XP, which is not a lot for an emergency. So we're definitely gonna have to collectively do more research to try to figure out what those distributions are for the levels. And one option is like, it's based on just the level. So if it's a high threat, then it'll roll for each time. Another option or aspect that could be involved is the specific foundable itself. But again, for the higher level ones, it's rarer, so I don't have enough data to be able to say whether it's a foundable specific reward or if it's a combination of that and some sort of chance roll. Okay, the last thing that I'll say is that at the beginning, I was noticing that in other regions, people seem to have hit or miss luck. And what I think is happening, and this makes sense, is that if we went to a park, if Jeff and I went to a park where it would be more likely to see Care of Magical Creatures, foundables, then I think we would have seen an explosion. But we went to the mall and it was an increase because we did see, like, as soon as the event started, it popped up, 4 popped up right in a row. Focus on the location. If something like this happens in the future where we have a family XP event, we should try to think about where we can go for these nests or concentrations of areas. It might not be a flag nest where it tells you this is where Care of Magical Creatures is. It might be something general like parks. So for example, if there's a Magical Games and Sports event, it might be beneficial to go near stadiums. And that makes sense because when they did the broomstick teaser, one of the comments on the blog post was to keep an eye out for Muggle stadiums. So that is definitely something for us to keep in mind as we're learning and trying to figure out where these family traces spawn more regularly. But there was no way that we were going to a park today because it was way too hot. So definitely keep your safety in mind. Don't go out into the sun and get heat exhaustion. That's all that I have for you today. I would love to know if you played this event, where did you play? And did you see spawns? Because I would love to confirm across for this theory that if people played in parks, they got a ton of benefits from the Care of Magical Creatures events, so that we can keep that in mind for any future events as well. Also, I'd love to know some of your rarest foundables that you found. Did you place any new stickers or did you find anything new in your registry? Let me know in the comments down below, and until next time, Wands ready.